All right. What's going on, everybody? It's been a very long time since I've live streamed literally anything or made a YouTube video. So it's going to be quite interesting. But basically, my goal in this series, I'm getting started on constructing a kind of one-to-one scale of a area that's pretty familiar to me. Lived in and around the area for basically all my life. And in Cities Skylines, I've played a lot of different playthroughs where maybe I've focused on building like cities that don't really exist, like my own, or building like replicas. And I've become obsessed now with building replicas. So we're gonna get started here. Obviously, if you're from this area, one thing that's super important: don't tell me when, or say in the chat when I'm working on your house or your neighborhood. I don't want you to be stalked. I also got started with a lot of the different neighborhoods because if I started with mine, then clearly you'd know exactly where I used to live. So I don't want to do that. Don't want to go through that. So let's not do that. So it's a little laggy because it's just getting set up, but this is what I have so far. The gist of the east end of Waterbury. Now, if I do my overlay here, you'll see that we've got quite a lot of towns here that we're going to also include in this. So we've got Middlebury, Watertown, Wolcott, Prospect, and Naugatuck down here. So this is kind of considered what's called the Greater Waterbury area. And as we go along through this series, one of the cool things I want to do is kind of share my own personal history with a lot of these different places, and also go over some of the actual history behind the town. So without further ado, as you can see, I'm having some issues here with water. I was trying to build out the river, which I think I've done pretty well. This is the Naugatuck River. And this whole region here is actually called the Naugatuck Valley, Naugatuck River Valley, basically, or Naugatuck Valley. All along this were tons and tons of factories. Waterbury used to be a very industrialized town or city. And fun fact about Waterbury, it was the brass capital of the world. And during World War II and World War I, you'd be hard-pressed to find a soldier that wasn't using brass that came from the city. So that's why Waterbury is known, and if you live here, you know, as the Brass City. So one of the other things I want to do in this playthrough is kind of change history a little bit. I'm going to, obviously because I'm limited on certain assets and different things like that, I'm limited as to what I can do. Oh my, what happened here? Some kind of lighting glitch. I'm limited with what I can do when it comes to certain buildings. It's not going to be exactly the same. I mean, if you're looking at it and you've lived here, you've ever visited, you're going to be like, this does not look anything like it. But the gist is to get the streets down, get the neighborhoods down, use the proper, appropriate buildings. But there's going to be some places where I'm going to throw my 2 cents in and kind of put my vision and what I think would make the city a little bit better. One of the big things is that this area here, this odd-shaped area, is currently a mall, and that mall is quite dead, unfortunately. And one of the things I've seen a lot of different towns and cities in Connecticut and around the country is convert dead malls into apartment complexes, mixed-use lots, or plots rather, and they just kind of subdivide things because one of the big things about malls, especially the one in Waterbury, I'm sure the tax bill on this thing must be insane. It's a lot of land. Maintenance of the large parking lot has got to be through the roof. And when it comes to feasibility for the city or for the owner, I just don't think it's really there, considering that no one really goes. And I just noticed something that is like one of my biggest pet peeves. Every once in a while, I will use anarchy with trees, and we'll have trees in the street. and I can't tell you how much I hate that. Anarchy, for those of you who don't know City Skylines very well, is just a mod that allows you to place things where you normally couldn't, like a tree on a street, which is not ideal. We don't want that. So I'm just going to go through and clear these off the street so I don't look like a total incomplete amateur. And out of these parking lots. I don't know how this happened. I swear, my save and my current mod loadout for... Oh, it's going to delete the buildings, whatever. Oh, well. My current mod loadout for City Skylines is so cursed. It used to be that every time I wanted to play the game, I needed to use an auto-clicker to auto-click like every millisecond. And it would click through probably hundreds of different mod warnings that would come up. Thankfully, that's gone away, and I think that was because of... Oh wait, no, because that's a hill. There we go. That's good. I think it was because of the mods I was using at the time. I was going for a European build, and I just went mod crazy. And as a result, it caused me a lot of issues. So I kind of, as you can tell, sprawled out a little bit just to be able to get some of the basics down. We've got the power lines that come in from over here, which I believe would be like Woolgate, Southington, Bristol area. I've left them clear because in real life they are clear. You can't really have, well, minus these trees, you can't really have trees next to power lines. And one of the cool things about these power lines, if you live anywhere near them, because they cut up through different towns, they go to Thomaston, they go to Middlebury. One of the cool things about them is that you actually, well, first of all, you can't really go in here. I think it's not allowed, but you don't want to because typically there's coyotes. Coyotes love that big open space and the ability to kind of just walk along and move freely. But, you know, if you ever were lost in the woods and you found one of these clear spaces, it wouldn't take you long to figure out where you are and how to get to where you need to go, because it's just wide open for quite some time, and there's service roads and different service depots for the linemen that come out and support these lines. So it, you know, it's just a cool little thing. And then this here is a railroad. It's actually a true-to-life railroad. You can't see, unfortunately, in the image overlay, you can't see railroads on this particular map that I have downloaded, but this is also going to be, as I said, I'm going to kind of, you know, input a little bit of my vision and what I would like to see improved. This is going to be one of them. The rail infrastructure in this area, in Waterbury, is pretty lackluster. If you're anywhere from Connecticut, you know, the name Metro North is pretty familiar to you. Amtrak, CT Rail. The Metro North line comes up to Waterbury and terminates there, and it goes from Waterbury to Bridgeport. It's an extension of Metro North. I don't think it's fully Metro North. They're not like the latest and greatest trains that you can take from New Haven to New York. But growing up as a kid, whenever we went on school field trips or anything like that to New York, we would take the train, which station should be somewhere around here. We would take that train down to Bridgeport and connect, and then we would take a Metro North train that was coming from New Haven down to Grand Central Station. If you live anywhere north of Waterbury, you're in essentially a museum of a railroad. It doesn't actually work. It's not a railroad that you can like truly take wherever you want. I'm pretty sure you can do it for like certain events, and there's like a club of like people that like support the rail, but I don't think it is like a true passenger or commuter rail. Also, because a lot of the towns up there are fairly rural and not as easily accessible by like walking or whatever. So I think if anything, you're going to get maybe some buses that run up there, but that's about it. It's a very small kind of less thought about, unfortunately, part of the state. I'm sure everyone who lives there either loves that or hates it, because it is nice to be left alone and not not have surges in traffic or you know, housing shortages or anything like that. But if you're trying to get up there and you live in a place where you don't have a car or anything like that, you're kind of out of luck. So one of the things I want to do is pretend that that's not true and revitalize this area. I think in real life, that's kind of a part of the plan. I know Metro North is considering purchasing the rest of the railroad that runs north of Waterbury. The truth is, though, if you look at a lot of those rails, they are poorly maintained and not safe for use at all. So it's going to take quite a while for Metro North to be able to get up the funds to be able to manage that. So this is kind of like a hopeful or wishful thinking scenario where we're able to, you know, have trains running from north of Waterbury down through the Naugatuck Valley into Waterbury, and then connecting down to Bridgeport, where people can then take the train to New York. Which I know I keep saying New York a lot, and if you're looking at a map, you're like, wait a minute, why would anyone from Waterbury need to go to New York? You'd be amazed that a lot of people, even before COVID, and a lot of people, transplanted from New York to Waterbury, you'd be amazed how many people work in New York and live in Waterbury, or have come up from New York and they're now working and living in Waterbury or around it, and then they frequently take the train down to go visit family. One of the greatest things about Waterbury is its central location in between Boston and New York. So let's say for a business trip you wanted to take a train over to Boston or over to New York. What you would do is you would get on the train in Waterbury, you'd go down to New Haven, or down to Bridgeport rather, and you can either take the train, the Metro North train, from Bridgeport down to New York City, or you can take it over to New Haven and catch an Amtrak train up to Boston. So Waterbury is kind of unique in the sense that it's in a fairly remote area from, where most of our train-heavy cities are, which is usually the shoreline. And that's just because it's way up in the hills, tucked away. If you look at a map, and the train lines that ran here were kind of, difficult to get set up in place anyways, because you have lots of hills and bends and curves. And that only gets worse the north of Waterbury. So that's why a lot of these train lines are kind of like I said, novelty. They're not quite in use. They're really just there. And it's because people don't have the money to tear them up or repair them. And so that's just the way things are. So again, wishful thinking. Hopefully one day we'll see a better rail infrastructure in this area. But that's that. So another goal of this series is to kind of build one city at a time. I know sometimes I can overwhelm myself with projects, and I don't want to do that here. I want to focus on Waterbury, and then, if there's a lesson I've learned from building this, I could apply it to the other towns as well. And, if a street doesn't look right, or a certain bridge, or different way of doing things, I can, work on that when I'm working on Middlebury, because Middlebury, as you can tell, is not going to have as many streets or anything like that. It's going to be fairly straightforward here. Same with Prospect. Prospect is going to be a piece of cake. Wolcott, little difficult. Watertown, kind of the same deal, but Waterbury is going to be the biggest challenge, and I'm really looking forward to getting that all squared away. So yeah, as we go along, I'll try to be sharing a little bit of the history of certain places, and like I said, the actual history and some of my own personal history. But as you can see here, I'm just basically going in and I'm grabbing various different things here, and various different types of roads, and applying them here to basically just this overview, or this overlay, because I want to make sure that I'm building the city somewhat realistically to how it actually looks in real life. And as you can tell, I mean, it's not perfect. There's some scaling issues. Some of these hills are a lot steeper than they are in real life. Like this one, for example, it's not that steep. But I try my best with the map editor. I imported the height map myself. So this is a handmade map, and God, did it take me forever to just get this river and these reservoirs and lakes and everything together. The scaling took a while too. The original scale that I had was so bad that I couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, I need to try again. And with some of these houses, you can tell like I'm using a specific type of asset over and over and over again, and I'm placing them. So one of the things about this part of Waterbury is they use a very distinctive style of house, and it's this house basically. Oh no, not that one. There we go. It's kind of like this house. I am going to try to eventually add a way for me to kind of sneak in some photos of what I'm talking about. But you know, basically different neighborhoods have different kinds of houses. So you'll see in these neighborhoods, I try to use assets from the southwestern, what is it called? The U.S. Southwest pack. Because you do have like houses like this up in Connecticut, similar to them. Not these square ones here. No one in Connecticut has that house. That's a very West Coast kind of house. But I also used in some of these neighborhoods, like this one over here, I used the UK assets because in some parts of these neighborhoods, you see houses kind of like this because this is a very old city, very old town, and the UK and America have some similarities in architecture, especially when it comes to single family housing. But that's kind of where the similarities stop, and even some of those houses are a little extreme. But yeah, we have a lot of cool little. Oh my gosh, it's so laggy. I'm very sorry about that. I think it's all the trees. I should have waited before placing them down because it's going to make working a little bit harder. But as you can tell, you know, anywhere I haven't worked yet is bare, and I think I'm going to keep it that way just for performance sake. But yeah, so you'll notice a couple things are accurate if you're from the area. I mean, this is an actual spot where there is a taxi company, and some of these places that have these high-rise low rents are, you know, true to life. They're not exactly the same shape, not the exact same layout, but it is what it is. And also, one of the big things is that these streets in real life do not have street parking. So there's that. But you'll realize that a lot of roads in Connecticut are just like this. No sidewalk, really. It's just, it is what it is. And some places do, some places don't. But due to the size differences between the roads, I've just used sidewalked roads to delineate, like this is a main road, and the alleys to basically denote, rather, that this is like a kind of a side road. Because this is what the side roads look like in this area. So, that being said, let's take a second to... I'm going to pull up on the other screen here my trusty Google Earth. Like in this area. Sorry, just doing a quick sound check. Okay. It's always whenever I live stream too that my nose starts running. I don't know what that is. So one of the areas I wanted to work on is actually a place I know very well. I did, for a time, go to one of these schools over here. This area here, I believe, is called the Edward D. Bergen Complex. Oops. Don't mean to pause every time I switch. It is a... Let me just confirm that for you. It is a complex that was set up in order to... No, maybe it's not called the Edward D. Bergen Complex. I thought it was. I always remember seeing a sign that said something about that. It is called that. Okay. Basically, this whole area was designated for a middle school and high school. And I want to try my very best to build this out a kind of almost exactly as it's built in real life. Because it's a really cool place for high schools or for schools, and in this game, the schools take up so much space. So it's really nice to have a like big, wide, dedicated spot for that. So let's just get right into it then. I'm gonna take this football field and place this right here, because that is exactly where the actual football field and track in this area is. And I forgot there is an elementary school. That's another school that is a part of this complex. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my... I gotta start using the Windows key. So it's something like that. And then we also have another entrance that comes off here. And we will put a nice little elementary school. Let's see if we have... That actually works really well. But I'm going to tuck it back here and see if I can just... Again, this isn't exactly how it looks in real life. I'm just working with what I got. Let's see what parking spot fits here. Beautiful. Wait, what? Seriously? I could have sworn I would have been able to... You know what? Anarchy. Let's do it. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. So there we go. We have our elementary school here. This one's actually a magnet school in real life. And this football field here is used by the high school that will be down the hill here, as well as the middle school. I played soccer here in middle school. Fun fact about me. I hate this track because I used to have to walk it all the time. In soccer, you do nothing but walking, which is a lot. When you're actually, playing the game, you understand why. It's quite a necessity, but it definitely can be a pain in the neck when you're just like, I just want to kick a ball and be a kid and have fun, but kind of prepares you for real life because you can't always just goof around. So I am going to try my very best now to kind of build this wiggly winding road that goes down the hill to the high school. Now, one of the things about, I guess, high school and middle schools, I didn't realize at the time, actually, I think it might be better if I snake it that way. There has to be very distinct separation from the different schools, because you don't want there to be any kind of interactions. You want to minimize interactions between elementary, middle, and high school students. I'm not sure if that's particular to Connecticut or if that's like a everywhere thing, but you, by and large, keep everything very separate. So I think it would be good if I do... Hold on. I can probably put that here. I think it would be easier for me to start here. So this would be the entrance here to the middle school. And we're just going to loop this around. I think I might have went a little too wide, actually. We'll leave that for now. And then in this little loop here, we have several different parking lots for faculty. Obviously, there won't be any students driving here, because this is just still a middle school. I had a feeling that would happen. Oh, you know what? That's why, because they don't connect up top. Okay. So I'm going to go for something like that. Now, sorry if it's like really hard to see. I forget sometimes that I'm totally okay with staring at that overlay. Can we find something a little better than that? Turn off snapping, for crying out loud. There we go. Bring that back around. Beautiful. Do the same here. I'm reluctant to share the names of some of the schools. If you're really curious, you can just Google it. Because again, goal is not to dox myself or anybody, or cause any kind of issues. So I think due to size constraint, that looks terrible. I think because of size constraint, I'm gonna have to make this smaller than it actually is. So we will just keep it as this. Let me see if I can just grab this and make this look a little bit better, because this is not the best. Why are there trees here? I'm gonna lose my mind. Let's go like this. See if I can just... No. Oh my god, I can't do that. Okay, that sucks. It's alright. I'm a tree deleting machine. Alright, and then we'll just take these. My god, if I grab one more tree, I'm gonna lose my mind. And goodbye, we don't need you. Thank you for your service. Okay. Now, that tiny upset behind us. Let's... Wish the overlay had a little bit more information about the layout of the parking lot, but what can you expect? What do you expect, rather? Let's say right here, and then turn on anarchy because it's yelling at me. Okay. So because there's no middle schools in Cities Skylines, what I'm going to do is build another elementary school. Typically, the entire complex takes up this space, and the buildings are connected, which is kind of funny because I did just tell you that there's a necessity for things to be separate, but that's not the case with this school. It's a situation where they share the same building, but they don't. They have, you know, strict restrictions as to crossing over, essentially. Why does that look that way? Something's not right. I know exactly what's wrong. I did overshoot it, and I never actually corrected. This should... This should turn this way, so we're going to have to make this even smaller, unfortunately. But no biggie, because we'll just get this all figured out. Like such. Cool. So yeah, when school lets out, usually this is where you'd catch your bus. And over here, they had a soccer field, but that's also where some of the football teams would practice. So I'm going to throw down a soccer field. Yeah, that looks good to me. And they have this weird road that doesn't actually connect, but I'm going to connect it because this is my... I guess you could call this the first change I make. But this is kind of my opinion of the matter. It kind of should just be merged. And then this leads up and out of the parking lot. Then you have a... Oh my god, I did it again. You have a fairly parallel road that will come down, and that will be the high school, which... Let me place that to get a good feel for how that's going to look. That will take up a lot of space, but... Oh my gosh, the snapping. That will take up a lot of space, but if we just kind of back these into each other, like that, and then just have this kind of... It's not going to work. It's not going to look at all like how it actually looks, but that's okay. Nice try. That's going to be it. That's just going to have to be it. And then maybe we'll put some additional parking in here because this is going to be a high school, so there will be students as well as faculty that are going to be parking here. There's also a lot of parking for different events as well. Of course, the school comes with parking itself. So there is essentially the complex. That's the middle school, quote unquote, high school, and elementary that are all on this complex. We're gonna add some of the sports fields that they have as well. This again is not at all going to look like what it actually looks like, but we will get a football field here. And there are also, on this side, several tennis courts. There we have it. That is the local high school, middle school, and elementary school. So I'm kind of just building out some of the essentials here so the city actually functions. As you can tell, I have unlimited money on. I have unlock all milestones. I don't really care about making a functional city. I'm just trying to design a city that I know in real life. So if you are offended by that, I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of purists out there that don't like that, but for me, I am just here to have fun. I really don't care about all that stuff. So we're going to build this out now where we have this little neighborhood, suburban neighborhood that is near to the schools. Just gonna try my best here with some of these roads. It's not going to be perfect. Is that a dead end? I think so. Yep, it is. Okay, we'll take this. here. Oh, hold on. I don't like that. We're a little off from the overlap, or from the overlay. Sometimes if you're not right over it, you won't get it right. Okay, okay. Not bad. Not bad. So we're going to continue on now, building out these roads. I never realized how many of these roads are dead ends. Some of these neighborhoods I've never actually like spent a whole lot of time in. Not for any particular reason, just never did. There we go. Okay. We are looking good there. Gonna build this one out now. Where does this go to? Ugh, I don't like that at all. Let's try. It's not ideal. Still not ideal, but we'll just have to settle. We'll have this come over like that. And then lastly, that connects down here. There we go. We're not done. There's still a couple more things here, but we're looking good. I think I'm going to go for a straight here. Snapping. Okay. Just trying to get a good feel for what we're working with here. As you can see, I named some of these roads. This is Meriden Road, the East End. And as you guessed it, you can take it all the way to Meriden. Or, for right now, just to that spot. But I'm going to build that out as well. That goes down the Southington Mountain, I think this is. Or I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm going to try to place some houses here. Now, along this street, this is all pretty much just single-family residential. Fairly nice community. I think it was somewhere in here that actually there was a parking lot I learned how to drive. This one is this whole parking lot complex is very common to see people learning how to drive. If you go there, you'll always see that. There's always somebody learning how to drive there. It's kind of cool. It's just a huge parking space with, you know, basically it's empty if there's not a game going on or a big event like a graduation or anything. There we go. A couple more. This one I'm just using indiscriminately. I really don't care about how the buildings look exactly. Um, for this, I just want there to be buildings. I'm also using infinite demand, so that way we can just have rapid building. Because again, I'm building a model city. I'm not here to make it functional. I'm not here to make it work like that. Again, if that bores you, I'm sorry, but okay, so that's looking fleshed out. If we go back in here, let's see what we still have left. So one of the difficult things is that whenever you have that open, it just kind of screws you up and you can't see very well. Take it straight, run it here. Sorry to that house. Take another straight, run it here. Now, I believe there is a condo community somewhere around here, so we might have to demolish some of these to make it a little bit more realistic. It's kind of really hard to see that overlay. Let me consult with my map. My handy dandy map. Oh, there is a church somewhere in there too. I'm gonna have to plop. One of the things, I guess it's like a mixed thing. I guess people don't really care here or there about it, but I find it really annoying that there are no churches in Cities Skylines too. Because in a way, especially if you're building a replica city, you kind of need it, and it feels empty without that. Like, most American and European cities have churches, and without churches you can't really. And you'll see later on too, we're going to be building an area that's supposed to be a mosque, so I am bummed about all religions not being represented in City Skylines too, because I don't know, I just feel like places of worship are important to a city. They're indicative of who lives there and the culture of the different people represented there. It just kind of sucks to not have that at all. But I guess that's just the game developers looking out for their backs. You know, you got to be, I guess, careful. But that's where I guess modders come in. But I don't really see a whole lot of options for church mods. Where does that road go? I'll have to consult my map for that one. It's just a dead end, okay. Same idea here, just plop. There is a condo community, but I think it would technically be a little further down the road, like here. Right around here. This is where you get a mixture of some businesses and some houses. This part of of Waterbury is so freaking confusing because if you look, you have Woolkit, right? And in this area, Woolkit, Waterbury, and a town called Cheshire overlap so much because right here is considered, like this area here is considered Woolkit. There's a business here that I used to go to, and if you look online, it says Woolkit. But then over here, this is Waterbury, and this is a Waterbury public school. And then over here is Waterbury. Over here is Woolkit. And then somewhere over here is Cheshire. It's so weird. I suspect some kind of tax shenanigans or, you know, people that are trying to live close to the city but not in it. I don't know. I've heard of stories like that with certain towns. Like there's a city here called Bridgeport, and the mayor of Bridgeport just loves selling off land to neighboring towns, which sucks, honestly. It makes it really difficult for the people that live there because they have to deal with the fact that, you know, they don't have a mall, they don't have a Walmart, they don't have these various different things that other communities do have, because their mayor is just selling off land where they would have had that, or where maybe they did have that, to surrounding towns, which really, really sucks. That is not at all a cool move. So there we go. We got another neighborhood going. Looking beautiful. We are starting to get demand for ambulances. I built a clinic over here, which is a true-to-life location of a clinic on that street. I think the only thing I'm missing... Actually, no, I have it all. I have fire, I have a clinic, and I have a police station for the time being. But obviously not big enough for the size of this city just yet. And I'm holding off on building this neighborhood because I am trying to find which house I want to specifically build. And I want to finish this. So let's take a look at this one. I'm going to pull up my handy-dandy map and take a look at what would be the best places, or best things to place there. Because on that street we have, let's see if I can find myself here. Where am I? I just completely lost myself. Oh, we're over here. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, so over here there is a retirement home, a school that, or no, excuse me, a funeral home. That was dark. What used to be a retirement home slash school slash retirement home slash school again, and a church. This actually is where the church was. So, eminent domain, and we're gonna build a church. So I have a couple kind of dinky looking ones. I have this, which doesn't really do it for me, but it is what it is. What we'll do here is we will kind of just for continuity's sake, we'll just kind of do that, and then place that there. And there is also a small elementary school here, so we will just place that bad boy right there. And of course, we're going to need some parking for the wonderful folks attending this church. We'll just put that across the street because why not? Now, going back to some of the houses here, we have a very specific type, and I feel like this asset specifically really represents those houses very well. I think Paradox, they try their best with some of these, but some of them are like not great. You have to kind of live here to understand the types of houses. I think that these are more in line with houses that you'd see in New York or Boston, not necessarily Connecticut. But that's also because in Waterbury, I think they kind of went with their own style and did their own thing. I really don't know 100%. I would love to know because I'm very interested in these things, but I don't have the answer, unfortunately. So that's kind of this neighborhood. Lots of multi-story, multi-family housing. A lot of it aligns the main road here with businesses on the other side. Again, it doesn't exactly look like this in real life, but you get the gist. And then, of course, the accursed mall plot, which because we don't have a mall in Cities Skylines 2, like I said, I'm going to repurpose this to be a new area, kind of what I would love to see happen to the city. Kind of a mixed-use / apartment building area where half of the parking lot is essentially just ripped up and converted into places for people to stay, which would be awesome because Waterbury, like many places in Connecticut and all over the country, is facing a pretty big housing shortage. A lot of folks, as I said before, came over from New York during the COVID era, and as a result, demand went up and supply did not. So we've got, you know, a bit of a shortage on our hands, and in the area at least. And I mean, again, it's not unique to Connecticut or Waterbury at all. It's happening everywhere essentially. So, you know, I'm sure somebody's like, "Oh well, boo-hoo," because I'm doing the exact same thing here. But that's just how it is here. In this area, I'm pretty sure they have fairly smaller houses, not as big as those in this one little street. So I just included that there to kind of make that a little bit more true to life and not as repetitive, because there are some smaller houses along that portion of the neighborhood. So I think this neighborhood is done. This neighborhood here is essentially done, minus a couple things I'd like to edit. This neighborhood drives me absolutely freaking nuts. I have to find better condo assets, because this is a condo community up on this hill, but these condos are way too big, like enormous. In real life, they're not that big at all. They're like not small, but much smaller than this, 4-unit buildings, and they're all lined up like this, but they don't look like that. So that's a little too much for me. I'm not a big fan of that. We also have, like I said, this neighborhood, which I think I'm going to start next, because honestly, it's a lot like this neighborhood with these style houses. This one in particular, you'll see a lot of houses like this in Waterbury. Oh my God. Sorry about the lag. I'm going to zoom out again because that's too much. A lot of places like that in Waterbury and Hartford and Bridgeport and New Haven. It's a very New England style building. Whether or not you like it or think it's that great is up for debate, but it is what it is. And this area too, I'm going to get working on soon as well. This is the Hamilton Park area, which is going to be pretty challenging because there's some river stuff that I'm going to have to figure out eventually. This is the Wolcott recreational area, as you can see here. And there is a little stream from the overlay that you can see runs through some of the neighborhoods in Waterbury, kind of wiggles and goes under the highway and wiggles and goes underground and then connects with the Naugatuck River here. I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but like I said, I'm learning my lesson as I go. One of the things I did here is I just dug a huge freaking trench for the water, and it kind of feels like cheating, but it's the only way to get beautifully beautifully kept rivers that don't overflow and cause flooding and all this other stuff. Which, fun fact about the Naugatuck River, before the Army Corps of Engineers came and built a lot of the stuff that prevents this river from flooding, there were severe floods. I think that there was, in the 50s, there was a huge flood that covered a lot of the areas of Waterbury and Naugatuck, and they built a lot of temporary bridges that are actually still in use today. And one of those bridges is right around here, actually. We're going to be building that eventually. So we're going to have a lot of cool different things going on with this project that I'm really excited about. So let's take a look at this neighborhood, because having this as a blank space in between all these finished neighborhoods is just kind of bothering me. So I'm going to go back to my trusty map, and we're going to take a look at the houses that line this main road, and then the houses that you can see deeper into the neighborhood, because it's a combination of multifamily, and then as you get further away from the road, it becomes more and more single family. And as I said before, one of the things that kind of sucks is jumping between different assets, causing some issues with, just continuity. Things don't look exactly as they should, which is unfortunate at times. This here, actually, you know what? Before I even get to there, I want to do this part. This part is a big apartment complex, and I bet you with a couple of tries here, I might be able to get this to pop. Let's see. Oh my god, that's not what I meant to do. Let's try that again. This one. Okay. How are we looking? Not the biggest fan. Not the biggest fan. These are more, you'd see them in a more downtown region. Let's try that. Not terrible. I like this one. Let's just do it actually in this this 3x4 plot. See if we like that. No, it's too European. Way too European. Let's do this then. Destroy that. Grab that. Nope, too big. This is the hassle that you have to go through when you build these, because it's not going to be perfect. Okay, it's just the same building every time. Let's unzone it, delete it, and let's approach it from another angle here. Why don't we try this? That's not bad. That looks much closer to what we would see. Can I get it tiny like that one? I like the size of this one here. But I think that'll just have to do. So as I said, as we get further away from the main road, we have some more single-family housing. But what I'm going to do here is try to mix it up, because it's not all multifamily or even multi-level. Some of it's like do some of these. Hello, snap correctly, please. That's kind of whine at me. There we go. As you get further and further away, over this way, they all kind of blend into single family. So I'm going to do this. And then, for the rest of this, I'm curious if I just do UK, if I'll be happy with that. Not bad. There are still some more of these multifamily buildings, so I'm going to try to place a few more. That's huge. No, I don't think we're going to get much luck with that. Let's do this then. Let's do a UK there and see how that looks. That's doable. Alright, we're going to fill this UK. And then we're going to do Southwest. Now around this area as well, same idea. These are actually nicer, higher end houses, some of them. There's some really cool ones along this street. I'm trying to use UK as like an older style, so that way the buildings kind of, you see that they're a little older than the other ones. Because, again, there's very old buildings in Connecticut. So, but in this neighborhood, actually, in particular, I think this portion of it is all new construction. There's a lot of beautiful houses on that street. So we might be able to do some cool stuff there. But this is kind of just like an arterial road that gets you away from the highway and deeper into the northern end of the east side. So, I mean, you can basically tell by the design of this road, because all the main roads are a little bit thicker. You can tell how the layout is. It's actually really cool. I'm really fascinated by the way that cities are designed, the way that traffic flows. Especially when you look at a city like Chicago or LA, where everything is so gridded out because they don't have hills. They can kind of do that. Um, to build a city like this, it's interesting to see what decisions were made, and then you can also tell too by some of the layouts here at what time certain communities were built. So like this looks very different from like this or further down, and they're all single family housing, which tells you that this is probably built closer to the 40s and 50s, at least built out. There probably were some houses here along this, what would have been called back then a country road, but it's not a country road anymore because it's in a city. But at that time, it could have been a country road because it would have taken you deeper into where over here there was lots more farming and things going on. So I'm sure over time this was developed out a little bit differently. Same with a lot of these other neighborhoods. They kind of just built them as they needed them, and they built them where they could. But you can see the difference, and it's actually really cool to see that. Because every city has a story, and you can tell that story a lot of times just by looking at the layouts and the designs of the city, understanding, like, what were they thinking at this time. Some of the houses, especially when we get to downtown, you'll see downtown was designed for, a lot of people to live there. And not a lot of people do live there, actually. Most people live around downtown, not necessarily in it. But you'll see exactly what I mean once we're actually in there, how everything kind of works out. So this is looking good to me. I'm quite happy with this. I would like to... Dang it, some of these UK buildings are actually really nice. Like this one here, it's pretty good. It would make a nice addition to the newer, nicer houses over here. But I think what I'll do is to kind of really show off how nice they are. I'll space them out, so that way they're not just stacked. Because the houses on these streets here are fairly stacked. Oh, I missed this. Can't believe I missed this. This is supposed to go like this and like that. And there is a nice little park here, so I will include that. With a basketball court. Put that. Oh, let's turn. Snapping is on. What the heck? Nice little basketball court. And a cute little playground. If I can pronounce my words correctly. Let's do. Let's see what vanilla looks like here. Ugh! I forgot how bad vanilla is. Let's get rid of that. Back to Southwest. Do a mixture, actually. Build. That's looking good. That's looking really good. I like the way that looks. Very nice. Very nice. Again, not perfect, but the whole point is to really have just a basic layout, copying or replicating the actual city. Things are not going to look perfect. And, you might be saying, hey, I lived in that neighborhood, or I currently live in that neighborhood, and that doesn't look like that. I know. But again, please don't dox yourself. Don't tell me if you lived here. Please. I don't want to dox myself or other people. And I will say that a million times because it's super important. Because people are weird. They will try to find where you live. They will try to find out more about you. We don't want that. Whoa, what happened over here? Holy cow. Jeez, people don't know how to drive here, which is actually accurate. Driving the city can sometimes really suck. People are brutal. People are quite brutal. I've seen some people take some very illegal left turns quite often. Actually, right around here one time, I witnessed an insane like car chase. These two cars were chasing each other, and one just banged like the most fast, most wicked U-turn right around there. It was crazy. That was a few years ago now. But all right, back to the city. So, I mean, as you can imagine, you can kind of tell already, as you get further away from downtown, you get more into the suburbs, you're seeing a lot more single-family housing and less condos. I still have yet to build out the condos, but like I said, I'm just kind of discouraged. The condos kind of suck. They kind of really just don't do it for me. A lot of them are ugly, to be honest, and they don't... they just don't do it for me. And it's also sometimes like here you can see you don't actually see the image of the house for some reason. I guess the app or the mod rather has to be updated. But yeah. And then if you search condo here, you're not gonna really get anything. Yeah, I mean you get these, but these again are too big. Way too big. So I'll have to find a good condo asset to include because there's nice little condo complexes around here that would go into these spots that I would love to see added, but I'm again, this is my biggest nightmare. This just does not look right. I know I said I'm not trying to build it perfect, but this is just too big. It just doesn't make any sense. The only thing that I think, in my personal opinion, is close enough to it would be this UK style. So, like, but even then, they have too much of a yard. Like, this is what the buildings somewhat look like, but they have too much of a yard. Because these buildings don't really have yards. They have shared communal spaces that families, you know, can all kind of come outside and enjoy. But no one really owns them, per se. And I mean, if you've lived in a condo or lived in an apartment complex like that, you know what I mean. No one necessarily owns that space. It's just a shared space between all the tenants. It's no one's particular yard. So, and then as you can imagine as well, as I was talking about that river before, that river does cut through here. So that's why there's this big empty space. The river will kind of wind through here once I actually try again. But as you can tell, I kind of raised the ground around here to prevent this from leaking anymore because it caused a lot of flooding. That actually, this is one little puddle left over from the nightmarish hellscape that this place was not too long ago. Because of my tiny little error. But let's keep going. There's another condo here. That's where that would go. Again, not really trying to build out condos at the moment because of the limitations. But I do know for a fact there is more single-family housing over here. Would be, I think, considered the Lakewood neighborhood. And we're gonna take this. Honestly, it's really cool to be building a city you know well, because it's honestly making me think about a lot of awesome memories I had living here for, you know, as long as I did. I don't live here anymore, but it still is really cool to kind of see where you came from, and you know, as you're going through, you're remembering things that happened, remembering places and people you used to spend time with. There's a couple neighborhoods that I've worked on, even on the old map that I had before, where I was like, oh man, I remember I met up with my friend here, and we, you know, we're hanging out in his backyard, and I remember that time we had the pizza party in my backyard. There's a lot of different things like that that just kind of come to you as you're doing this. And obviously the game doesn't very well represent it all the time, but there's sometimes where, like, you know, your brain connects the dots a little bit and you're like, oh wow, no, that's really Waterbury. That's really coming together quite nice. So that's a weird street. That's a very weird street, as you can tell by the overlay. It doesn't look very good, but my goal here now is to kind of just wrap up this neighborhood. So I kind of like to build the main roads around where I'm going to be building on, and then fill in all the tiny roads as a result. So we started here, we built out this one here, it goes along the hill. I do know for a fact there is a radio tower right here in this like forward-looking thing. Don't ask me how I know. I just one time got really curious as to how you could actually rent tower space, because I had a cool, fun little project I was working on at the time, which you'll learn about me. I'm a big nerd, and one of the things I'm crazy about is radios. So, oh, slope too steep. Interesting. Okay, I'll come back to that later. So we're gonna build that. Again, some of these streets are a little weird because they're up on a hill. If I remember this correctly, I think my school bus, one of the years I went to school, would come through here. And there used to be a store somewhere. Is this where I think it is? Yeah, somewhere around here. It was like a convenience store, and they had a sign that said "Best fried chicken in the world," and I was like, "That is a killer endorsement if it's true." But I never tried it, so I couldn't tell you. Always wanted to, but never got around to it. I would only ever drive by it on the school bus, and you can't just tell the school bus driver to stop so you can get the best fried chicken in the world. Wish you could, though. Wish you could. Okay, we're gonna turn off snapping for this, because this is where it gets a little freestyle. Gonna build out this 4. Bam, look at that. Nice. So just so that way we have it true to life, I'm gonna build telecom tower right here. And there we go. Look at that. It's also got a great signal up there. I know this is just a game, but I mean, that is realistic. You would want to put something there for you know, TV or radio or anything like that. This looks like it would be an AM tower, I think. I'm not sure. Let's keep building out these streets. Again, this is where it gets a little hairy because it's hard to see in between the zoning things. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Boop. That just comes diagonally down. Okay, cool. Bam. Missing anything? Yes, this connects. Can't tell if that connects because of where it says Walnut Hill or Long Hill. Whatever. Cool. So now we have the Long Hill neighborhood pretty much fleshed out. There are Hold on. There are several housing authority low-income buildings along here, as well as like 1 or 2 businesses down here. I'm gonna try out, and I don't really, again, just like with the condos, I don't want to get too particular. I'm gonna place 1 or 2 here to see what we're dealing with. A little too big. A Little too big. Not a fan of these really big ones. Because in Waterbury, you don't really have big buildings like this. They keep everything fairly low to the ground. So I'm going to scrap all that. And we're just going to start with a little 2x2, 2x3, 3x3. Let's see what we get. I like this one. That one's not bad. I think I'm gonna stick to the 2x2. Whoa, what? Oh, that's why. Alright, so we also have a little park over here. Which there's a building for, so I'm going to put a park maintenance building up here because the only other one is very far away. So whenever there's like a park building, I like to put a park maintenance building there. And then we'll do like do a large playground and let me move this. Basketball court and a tennis court. Oh, nope. Never mind. I'm just going to keep it to basketball. God, that does not look good. I hate that. I hate that so much. Let me just move you, move you, move you. Work with me here. Come on. Please. Please, please. Better. It's better. We're getting somewhere. A little too big. Nope. Scrapping that idea. Scrapping it completely. No park maintenance building for you. But you do have 2 basketball courts, so there you go. Now, if you want to play with your friends and there's somebody else there, you don't have to wait for them. You can just go. Again, we're going to do the same idea here, just 2x2 low-income buildings. I'm keeping them separate because I want to make sure that they have some breathing room. There you go. Then I believe somewhere over here is the Career Academy, which is a fairly new building. At least it was new to me. I remember that being built. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to pause the game. No one wants to look at a pause game like that. Yes, the Waterbury Career Academy. Which would be effectively right here. So let's find a decent high school. So it takes up a good amount of space. There we go. And one of the cool things about the Career Academies is as it was being built, you could see it from really far away, which you can't quite now because of all these trees in the way. God, I wish there was an easier way to just erase trees. This is like the 4th time I've complained about trees, but come on. Yeah, The building is a little... I know I said buildings in Waterbury aren't very tall, but the building is a little taller than that. So you actually got a great view of it from around the city when it was being built. And the building's like kind of like gold. It like shines in the sun a lot. So let's focus in now. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause again. Let's focus in now on the houses around this. So again, a mixture of multifamily and single family residence. The closer you are to this street here, the more multifamily they are. So let's go back into here. We'll do 1x4. We'll pull up my handy dandies here. I actually think that some of these would fit. No, that's still too close. I know it says row houses, but they're not quite stacked like that. Wait a minute, this is where that fried chicken place was, so I'm going to put a little place there, and that's where the world's best fried chicken is sold. I don't think that sign's there anymore, but that that store was there for a while. Like I said, every day I drive by in the school bus at that time, and I would see that. I would always say, huh, I wonder what makes it so good. I'd love to try, but never did, sadly. Alright, we're going to use just this. Honestly, I'm feeling a little, not lazy, but I just don't want to fuss about that too much, so I'm going to keep it nice and simple. Cool. So again, not a lot of these neighborhoods actually have sidewalks. So this is kind of a nicety. And there's usually no street parking on this road either because it's a main road. So that's a little unrealistic. But yeah, looking good. Looking very good. I built this road 5-10 minutes ago and it's already full of parked cars. Great. You know what? That actually might be a problem at some point. Let's build out a great big parking lot for our low rent friends and for the Career Academy, because why not? There we go, looking good. Long Hill is coming together pretty nice. So let's focus now on the community just north of that, though, where we have the antenna tower. What do these look like? Oh, these are all single family. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not where the chicken place was. It was here. Hang on. I know I said it's not going to be exactly accurate, but it would kill me if the chicken place was not in the right place. So I've got to put it in its right place. It needs to be there. Just going to eminent domain. And boom. There we go. Chicken place. Let's go. Wait, shoot. I did it wrong again. Eminent domain and third time's the charm. Come on, snap correctly. Dang it, there we go. And rezone. It was here. That's my final answer. Bam. Chicken. We'll name this best fried chicken in the world. Oop, that's not how you spell world. Again, I really wish I tried, because I would love to tell you that it was, but I never got a chance. I just thought that that's an insane sign to put out front of your door, because you really, really need to have very good fried chicken to really ever even come close to claiming that. So I hope that that was true and that people enjoyed it, but I couldn't tell you. Never got to try it. So for this, I'm spacing out some of these because they are not as close together. This is more of a... Is that going to do anything? No, it's not. This is more of a spaced out neighborhood. Houses are not quite as close together. For privacy, curb appeal, kind of looks nice to have a nice big yard. People like that space. Let's see if we can get some more action here. That's coming together quite nice. It looks pretty much like how it does in real life. Cool, cool, cool. Get a little shape variety in there. And as we get further and further away from the main road, we're going to make these plots slightly bigger. Cool. You get a nice view of the Naugatuck Valley from here. Although as we build out more and more, this is going to look a lot different. But it is what it is. Let me go back to my map. Oh no, there's a condo community that I'm going to have to build. And that condo community will sit roughly right here, which I guess this road is... Oh, no, I didn't do that part. I was going to say, this map is outdated, but no, it's just me not paying attention to my handy-dandy overlay. So this is another one of those communities that has, like, condos. I think they were affordable housing community that was built, like, I want to say five or so years ago. Very beautiful community, very nice apartments, and they gave a lot of people homes, which is great. And then up there is a church that we'll have to figure out how to place. But yeah, let's get back to this real quick. Some real big ones here. Is it me or did my entire screen just turn orange? Oh, I know why. Nightlight on Windows just turned on. I don't know if you guys saw that on the live stream, but I didn't realize I had it turn automatically on at 9 o'clock. That's kind of creepy. No, it looks like it didn't show up in the stream. Good. Thanks, Nightlight, for randomly intruding on my session here. beautiful. It's coming together quite nice. Quite nice. Who's this? Where are you going? Ah. Looks like he works here. Occupations. Specialist at the telecom tower. Cool. Simone Piper. Cool. People are already getting work, already getting jobs. And yikes. We need to build another clinic or finally get to the hospital, which is going to be somewhere right around here. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. And sorry, I don't mean to pause, but I just realized that I still have Microsoft Teams open. Trying to think though how we're gonna do this, because this hill is a little tough. Sorry if I'm just moving around. I'm trying to figure a few things out here. What the next steps are gonna be. I want to see how if these roads at all connect. Because if they do, which it does look like they do. But in a weird way, what the heck? I think that's how that works. I'm not sure. These are some of the artifacts, or like errors that came through when I imported the map that you have to kind of just smooth out with the smoothing tool. There you go. Cool. Every once in a while I like to go and clean those up. So yeah, we've got Long Hill looking good. I'm gonna just finish up the single family housing here. Interesting. Then we also have some around here. Cool. Again, what we can do here too is we can start planting some trees. So we'll get some trees planted here and crank that strength up. Because this area is fairly wooded. I mean, the only places that don't have trees are the roads and people's, effectively their yards. The rest is all trees. Connecticut is just full of trees. Literally looking on a map, it's just dark green on Google Earth in this particular area. So I'm just going to go heavy on the trees. Right up into these neighborhoods. And then make sure that this is good too. Look at that. Beautiful. This over here is supposed to be a kind of like Walmart big shopping plaza. It's not exactly true to real life. Because again, limitations with the game, but it looks decent. I like it. It does the job. All along here are going to be low-density commercial businesses. So why does it keep switching to Europe? There we go. So I'm just going to kind of... Ooh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to kind of fill that in. You have a lot of different commercial businesses along this hill. Let's start thinking about this condo unit. That's going to drive me crazy. You have here a landfill that's up here. It's getting quite full. There's several different recycling centers and landfills all around the area that we'll eventually get to, but like I said, kind of doing it piece by piece here. So one thing at a time. Let me just do a quick save because I really do not want to lose all my progress. That would not be great. And I think there is a water tower that is kind of like underground. Somewhere like here. But in an effort to not... Oh, wow. There's literally a water tower in Waterbury that looks like this. That's funny. To prevent people from losing their house, I'm going to do this. There we go. Just, I tried. And, again, I'm going to have to come back and revisit this once I have an actual condo. But let's go back over here. Just keep building out these places, because I think this is where it gets back to the mixing of multifamily and single family. I think this is going to be pretty much multifamily, this area here, and this transforms back into single family housing. So we'll take a look at that in a second. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I think I'm going to wrap up for the evening, to be honest. It's getting a little late here, and I've got a lot done. I try my best not to get burnt out and play for too long, because then I just go crazy and start working on projects and getting ahead of myself. As you can see here, building Interstate 84. If I didn't stop myself, I'd build this thing all the way over to here, and there's just no point. I'm going to rush it. I'm going to botch it. That's why I stopped kind of around here before the Mix Master, because that's going to be a nightmare to build, especially because I already tried and failed miserably. But we'll try again and hopefully nail it this time. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I really hope that this series is fun and educational, that people enjoy it, whether you're from the area or not. It is really fun to play this game and to build out cities. And again, as I said, kind of see how things come to be the way that they are. And it's also really cool to just kind of fly around in a place where you grew up. It's just really, really neat. So yeah, that is my first playthrough, first episode, first whatever you want to call it, of building Waterbury, Connecticut, or the greater Waterbury area in Cities Skylines. So hopefully you guys will join me again next time. Not really sure when I'll do this again, but hopefully soon. So once again, thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.